Hello, hello, beautiful friends, beautiful souls all around the world. It's been a while, and I'm really happy that today was the day I felt inspired once again to show up and a little bit share some consciousness stream wisdom, but as well some practical, I would say, understanding of what's about happening, not just in the world, but in the inner world of our own selves. So I would be happy to also hear how you are feeling right now, maybe in the comments then, to just, yes, share a little bit if you as well are feeling quite tangible right now, those different sensations, different feelings, different states we are actually all right now experience. Of course, it's always an individual experience, but at the end, when we share, we do see and hear that it's very much similar, because indeed we are all together in one big collective field. So it actually doesn't even matter what is your day all about, what is your work, what you're believing in, because at the end, it's all about energy. And this is as well what already I stated the title of, that change of roles, the shifting of identity. So what do I mean with that? We are truly now hitting, and not just hitting, we already crossed that threshold of how we've been till now. And it is a reflection, of course, of the outer world as well, because the outer world will always be the mirror of all of us within. And this change of roles is actually that many, also those I'm working with, and they've been sharing, my clients, that, and myself, that there is a certain sensation, feeling rather, that you're just starting to feel different. And this again can happen on many different ways of expression, but things you thought you like, or the work you've been doing for so long, or even how you may be dressing, or what your likes were, so what you've been liking, that it's just very progressively, but even rapidly changing. So it's almost like in the past, I would say 2-3 weeks, we really start to feel tangible that we are shifting, and not only in consciousness, but in who our identity was. And let's call it the ego self, always, I will say, chooses for the role it will experience certain ways of being, certain belief system, even the environment, even, of course, where we grew up, all of that. But now we are truly already halfway on the other side, and that's why people are starting to feel that something profoundly happened in this short little time. Like I mentioned, about 2 weeks, something like that. Could be a bit earlier, later, but really just now, like you're waking up and you just start to feel more and more like you are completely displaced. So displaced, like I already mentioned, where you're living, what you thought are your goals or something in that direction, or your dreams, but all of a sudden you understand, oh my God, it's actually not anymore. I can't feel it. Maybe I don't even feel the near connection to those who were so near and dear to me. And all of that, beautiful souls. Of course, it will, in a way, make you concerned, but the concern is rather your ego self, which is kind of giving you that alarm that, hey, we are changing. Something is out of the norm. And that should be for you, actually, not a red flag, but a green flag, that it's showing you that on that bridge of that consciousness shift, of that change of the roles, you are already passing or even past that beautiful bridge from one state, from one identity to the next one, from one state of being, or like I said, your own self, to the next one. And this can be, like I said, very tricky and even scary for that ego self, because that ego self will give those alarms and saying something is really, really wrong. Why do I feel maybe not confident like I always did? Why do I feel anxious all the time? Why do I feel like I'm almost hermiting? Or why do I feel that all what I thought I'm very good and skilled and achieving, suddenly I can't anymore? And maybe I rather lay in the bed and cover myself. All of that are signs that you already are entering and entered that next state of your own being. And how do I mean that? Because it is still 3D included. So this means that your soul, which is beyond the identity of your human self, already knows the next step, the next plan. Because beautiful souls, we are all together, not only individual, already shifting and already shifted. So this means it's almost like putting off those clothes, and some are doing that faster and some slower, but some are doing it consciously because they've chosen, I know that we are shifting and I know I'm ready for the new, so I can easier let go where I was, how I was, who people thought I shall be, and all of that. That's all the identity, and actually into something which the soul is now more than happy and ready to experience as your next human experience. Okay, and this means that many things we been till now, we really, really outgrown. But the mind thinks you're settled, you're fine, you're safe, you were actually satisfied. But that's not the point. We are not here on this human journey to lean back and just be settled. That's the biggest, not just block, but actually the illusion which they made us believe you have to achieve something and then be stable in it, because this means you are successful in that achievement, right? Like, I don't know, the house or the job and the money and all of that. But we are being now shaken to the core, because to the core we had this deep, deep identity mask cloth. And I'm not talking about being a false self, all right? I'm not saying that. But we outgrown who we've been till now. So everyone will start to feel, if you didn't know that consciously or even chosen it consciously, it will feel like you've been shaken, that something profoundly is wrong right now with you. Like I mentioned, you might feel even you can't be in society. Maybe you feel sad and you don't know why you're moaning. Okay, all of that will not be anymore connected with outer stories or outer events, but inner, because your soul is pushing you from the inside out through your mask identity into this next field, which you have, like the mind control, no idea yet. Where am I going? And that's the scary part for that ego self, for that identity which the ego built. The ego built that you are known as, I don't know, Ian, okay? That I'm known like Gabi, that I'm known just being the musician or the quantum healer. But the soul knows now we are collectively rising into a bigger field of new soul potential. So this means that potential is actually something we as a soul are yearning for, we are happy for it, but the mind, which settled for something fixed, is getting now really panic, because it's almost feeling everything starts to be almost taken away, maybe in a fast way, maybe in a slow way, and maybe not completely all, but I would almost say the most of it. Why? Because we settled too much now in it for thousands of years. And listen to that, thousands of years, not just this lifetime. So we are ready in a much more bigger way to experience new human experience, which we didn't yet. It has nothing to do who you've been till this now moment. It has nothing to do that you think that you need now to prepare yourself, shield yourself, that something incredible bad will happen. It has now something to do with the journey within. So for all who are maybe, let's say, new to that, or think within means only meditation, it's actually not that. It's really that you start to slowly understand that you're not only your mind who has always the control, what is happening, where I'm going, what I'm choosing, I'm here the boss of my life, but that you're now starting slowly to understand that this soul of yours, okay, we can say now that divinity, that source stream, which is coming from your inside out, from your soul, your heart to this reality, right? That this soul is actually now taking, or is already, or took already charge of that, being the boss of this new experience, okay? And this shall be something really beautiful to be felt, not scared of. Why? Because trust me, when we were having only the charge as this human, as this mind is always limited, always. So this means we know from A to Z, we know maybe as much information, but we never know the whole big picture where others are involved. That's the soul, that's divinity, that source which has this overview, right? So this means this kind of, let's just call them simply little hiccups, or these mistakes, or these loops we were constantly in and maybe experience through some not so aligned choices, the same outcomes, and then being in this suffer and being sad and being disappointed. Imagine now that something so much bigger is taking now over, that then this doesn't need to happen anymore. Why? Because then you will not choose from that mind, which is like almost this playful child who doesn't care. I'm the boss. I can do whatever I want. Nobody will tell me otherwise. So this can be a little bit like you see as well in this ego side, like I don't care, so I'm not aligned maybe to a bigger wisdom here, so I just do whatever I want, which can be then, of course, self-destruction, which we then see in the outer. That's the reflection in this of this world, that we many times, all of us on some level, did choices which were more aligned for self, but not for the all. And that's, of course, we have now consequences out there. And we can clearly see it was not always created, this reality, by a pure, wise choice or a awakened choice, but rather a half-awakened or even unaware choice. And when we will start now much more to really be aligned, because that's exactly what's going on this planet with all these changes, not that it's getting harder on this planet, it's getting back shaped into its original divine plan, construct, divine order, law of one, and not only law of the identity of the ego, right? So this means this shaking which is now really been seen, felt everywhere, is rather rebalancing itself organically. And all what I'm here sharing is really in the 3D what is happening, not only on a spiritual level, okay? So this means that by doing that, this shaking up will, like I said, almost take away your ground, but only if you've been really more led by what others are expecting from you, maybe by the culture, maybe by the family, maybe from your beloved because you wanted to be loyal, etc. and so on. So you see, even if you thought you been nice and kind, which you on a level you've been, but if you didn't really act from a soul alignment, what is your calling, your passion, and you stepped backwards, so this means you actually sacrificed your truth, your soul alignment, then as well the most loving person on this planet will be now shaked up, okay? Because we shall not be in a way putting ourselves on the back burner anymore. We shall not actually work for others for their dream, but we need now to become the real us. And that's the identity shift. So it's not just, oh, it's a consciousness jump and we're gonna become all now golden, beautiful new humans. It's so much more. We are finding back to our own strength, to our own source, and this we will need. We need our own resources, because till now we've been all plugged into our outer source system, right? And this means we've been, I don't know, needing money, needing food, needing this and that. And I'm not saying this will disappear now all at once, but we need to understand we've been too much relying onto it. And when you rely to the outer, you instantly move away from your own self. So this means you forget that moment that you're actually putting the outer on a pedestal. Is it money? Is it someone else? Is it family? Is it, you know, family rules or their culture? You're putting it then on a pedestal, and instantly you're putting yourself lower. And that's something beautiful souls, divine order, which is now blasting this planet, blasting all of our cells and remembrance, will not allow anymore. Because the order is that we all shall come back to that, not just remembrance, but embodiment, that each of us is a part, is a God spark particle in this human body suit. So this means each of you, we could say, we are walking source, okay? Walking source. So this means that we cannot then act that we are less than that. We cannot act that something is more outside than we are. This all cannot be allowed anymore. But it will not be in a way that something will just tell us in the mind, stop doing that. No, it's your inside, your soul is now challenging each of you, each of us, and will actually push you, push yourself out of this comfort zone, which is so stuck within, like, I'm small, I don't have money, I can't change this planet, I can't do anything. That's all a safe network which you built up by believing this outer world is so much bigger than you are. And again, you put the outer on a pedestal, and your divinity, your walking source, smaller down. So you see, all of us, we need now really to realize that we are not only shaped up and we are having all this anxiety for no reason, or why do I feel lost right now with no direction? Because the direction you've been on was on a way not anymore aligned. And if it was not aligned because you put yourself on the back burner and rather helped everyone but not followed yourself, your calling. Maybe it was because you took too much and you being the boss and the cocky one and the arrogant one. We all know those different roles, all of them, but all of this is not anymore serving the all. And as we are already pretty much together pushing into this new higher vibrational consciousness field where there is already the law of one, means it's not an ego law, it's not a human law, it's source law, where all have the same beautiful alignments, blessings, abundance. It's not anymore hierarchy, okay? So then, of course, we need to understand you cannot enter with the same clothes. And the same clothing would be now, I'm afraid, I'm not enough. I feel so small. What's wrong with me? Because all of this being now pushed from your soul, not from the world, not from the outside happenings or events, from your soul, means from your divinity. It's pushing you out from this old mind construct, from your old clothing, from your old identity. And that's the change of roles, okay? So this means not only that we're gonna now leave that old roles behind, like I said, on a nice way because you're more conscious and aware what's happening, or on a more heavy way because it will shake you to basically really wake up from your, arrogance or from your massive fear or whatever it is, because you just need it to really come to the bottom of your foundation to then build on it with a new, fresh consciousness and not on a faulty, basically, foundation, right? That's why it will happen in this way or in that way. It depends how you are moving through that. So if you're aware or not aware. And as well, that's one part, but at the same time, imagine when you're now putting off this clothes, like I've been always in poverty. I've been always disappointed. I've been always left alone. Whatever all this identity carried till this now moment, because this already you experience, you will not take the same experience forward. The same time, it's then also asking you, and this will be now your soul, when you get a free ticket, okay, you get the free ticket, you know, from now on you are free to choose whatever you like. You're not anymore attached to culture, places, spaces, etc. and so on. Imagine then what a next shock this is for your state, which was never completely free and always somehow limited and was not allowed or not possible. And suddenly you have this ticket, and suddenly this ticket is asking you, so who do you want to become? So this is now also a very profound question, key, which each of us will also need now to start slowly to dream, to choose into this existence. So who do you actually wish to become as next? And trust me, also this is very hard for many who were so set in their ways, in their choices, in their places where they've been, what they were doing, even who people knew them to be. Let's say you are, I don't know, a public figure, or even if you're not, just like a nice person, everyone knows you like that. It's hard to get out of that, but your soul will push you, because it's pushing now all the buttons of all the popularity on this planet, all of them. Some, like I said, will even feel, wow, I'm getting a thriving energy back, which you maybe been for a long time somewhere, I don't know, closed in your little room, didn't know where to go, what to do. But at the same time, there are also people who will be now really scared to lose their position, We know, we would say, oh, that's great because it's the politician or whoever, but it's more than that. We are all here as humanity in going into an evolutional next step of progression. Okay, so it's an evolution of humanity. That's why no one is now anymore excluded. And this should give you a heads up that you know on some soul level that nothing, of course, we know nothing will stay the same. The old world, the old role, the old self is changing, but at the same time, get a little bit excited beyond this anxiety that, wow, this means actually I can start now to also dream dreams maybe which were never before possible. Okay, so this is already the heads up for all of you, all of us, to start to think about, feel about, what would I actually like now to become? If I was till now maybe just a painter, maybe I can become a cook, or I can create beautiful big events for people to dance, or whatever it is. Now we are stepping into such a big potential field, and that's why the limited self pieces of our being super scared and super shaken up, because they were always limited. Of course, it's almost like I'm getting now the best ever choice of my life, which I never had before. I need to be on a big stage. Until now I was on a small stage. So see as well this kind of awakening, progressing as well, in a way that it's really, really starting to happen something amazing, and not only distraction, which we all now of course seeing, because this is the old roles, the old clothes, and this is not something we can use in a new field where there is really the law of one in charge, right? We don't need then deceit and distraction and all of that, because that's not divine law. It's not divine order. It was created through limited consciousness state. And when you're not aware, and I don't know, I give you a knife, maybe you will not cut nicely, I don't know, an apple, but you will harm yourself, right? And that's how we were before as humanity creating, because we were not aligned with our soul, with our beautiful law of one, which is really, really always taking care of everything and everyone. Okay, so that should be a heads up, that even if you now feel anxiety right now in this moment I'm speaking, know that this is only, and this is now really practically spoken, what is anxiety, that your mind is still controlling, your mind is still controlling the flow of your heart, of your divinity. It's a lid. It's the control is putting a lid onto your heart, and you're more and more and more shrinking. How does it happen? When you're more and more overthinking, procrastinating, analyzing, that's the moment when you're more and more and more putting a lid on your heart, on your portal of your soul. And then of course you're almost like trying to get air, you know, like this panic, like, oh my God, I'm actually shrinking in my own self. So think about this, that you understand what means actually when you're scared, when you're in fear, when you're really, you know, contracting, right? That's when the mind is more, oh my God, what should I do? How should I choose? I have no money. Where should I go? And you're actually building this lid, which is just blocking this divinity, this soul language, the soul voice, which is always aligned to this oneness. And it always, always will be, because I met so many people on my path, which when I start to speak in such a more let's say, brighter, bigger way of seeing things, then they think, oh, this is fantasy. It has nothing to do with the 3D world. But let me tell you that that's your key to your freedom. So either you want to continue to contract and live in this little small self-created prison because you think only if you control everything, then you're safe, and then you're, I don't know, protected, then you make the right choices, even maybe you don't know the choices which you're making, but it's actually all the opposite. More you in the 3D tangible life, more you connect with your soul, with this beautiful spirit, which is like making this body also alive, basically, right? More you will have a tangible 3D life full of joy, abundance, and a big breath instead of contraction. All right, not this fear, not that you're small, not that anxiety, not do I choose left, do I choose right, because then you will flow. And when you flow, you feel instantly where to go. You instantly attract, like this magnet, all the right people, the places, where to go, what to choose, because you don't need to know controlling to know in advance what to do, because then you're actually blocking massive potential into a shrinked little piece of that potential. So that's why we are now moving from this shrinked version of self, of this role we've been, into a much more expansive self. And when you know that, even it can be, of course, still scary because it's new, it's different, it's like beyond measurement, what we learned, what we knew, how 3D works, what I have to do to be successful, to feel good, but really into next potential, which we didn't have till now, then you will slowly understand that all what I thought I need to control, I just need to soften. And when I soften, I'm more basically giving it space, it can flow more, and then it can come more. Okay, is it now? I don't know, I need actually a new home because I'm homeless, or I will soon lose my job, or I don't have that love partner, or I don't have soul family, I don't have friends, because you've been in this small version thinking that, and by thinking you control that this is the state, so better just keep it together like that, otherwise I even lose myself. But that's the point. Let it be lost, because your brain of the ego self will let you feel that now. I'm losing myself. What's wrong with me? Everything is not working out anymore. Exactly, because we shall lose now more of the mind to fall, drop back more into that heart space of that soul, that we can flow more, that we can expand more and receive more. Okay, that's all connected, and that's the point which I felt it's now important to come online to share, because again, I work with many people as quantum healer, as musician, but also just, you know, friends and all, and many are just saying the same, like what's wrong? I feel like I'm not myself, I'm you know, losing it, etc. That's the old self, this control system of yourself, which is the reflection of the outer control system, which is breaking that role, that change of role, right? That clothes, that old clothes, which wants to break you out, that soul wants to break you out from that comfort zone of the known. And comfort zone doesn't mean always just, I feel amazing where I am. Comfort zone means as well, what is known, you just hold on to, even if you suffer, if you're this and that, which is not great, because you're just so used on it. And that's something which is as well the nature of human, that we easily fall into this routine. We just get used, we just think it's normal, and that's what actually soul wants to break us out now. It's not normal. It's not, it shall be till end of our lifetimes like that. We are ready to look beyond that curtains, which are now fully open and really blasting this planet with this basically divine truth. And divine truth will let you see now, whoa, where did I really stuck myself? Not my parents, not my partner, not my past. Where I made those choices to basically stuck myself in such way of thinking, in such way of feeling, because it was always our choice. The rest is only believing I was a victim. But beyond that victim, it's still the self. It was always your choice, nobody else's blame or fault to blame them. And it's not even about blame. It's just now everything will start to be revealed. And I also want to say, before I close this, that as a reminder, really bring it up at least one time per day. Your body, yourself, is the small version of the whole outside world. Bring this in. It will make you understand that all that fears and chaos of you is that fear and chaos outside. That inner war, like, should I do this, should I do that? I can't accept my intuition because then I'm seen as weak. Is that outside war happening right now on this planet? It's us, our quality, our energy, our frequency is creating the outer. It's always the same. It will be always the same. So start really to look now inward. So what is still, which is now really shaking me to the core? See it as something which cannot go further because it's not aligned with your soul truth. And this will be shaken. So if it's shaken, don't fear it. Take a breath. You can write it down. You can burn the paper, whatever, but really make space. Allow it now to be shaken, to be pushed out by your soul to help you to move forward to the next step. And then really step into this new potential, which, what would you like to become next? That's really now up to you and up to your soul, which is already actually written in the sky, written in source, divine law, what will be next. But just trust that what has been written is already something which you are hardly waiting to experience. Only your mind doesn't know that yet, that we all are actually tired to the core, tired of the same old stories, same old emotions. We are all tired, and that's why we are all shifting now out, because this was not anymore evolution. This was just a loop. And now really divinity took the lead here, your soul, and is helping us now out of this loop, out of this old clothes, and really become more that next shiny version, the one which is more aligned, and it will more consciously choose, more consciously create, and that under the law of one, which can already tell you it will become just more and more beautiful for all of us. So make this deep breath and know that you can let go and let it just pass through, like when you pass water through you, and let it just rinse off, because your next clothing of your beautiful new identity is already ready. Okay? So sending all my love to all of you, and heads up, it's not as it seems. It's just the rinsing of that which really wasn't anymore any kind of evolution, but rather a stuck loop, and we don't need that anymore. So we are blessed and we are rising. Much love to all of you.